Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Pat Cranley, and I'm the Distance Education Coordinator here at CRC. And today we're going to be talking about the new integration of YouTube, or the ability to use YouTube with all of our Los Rios technology services. And this is something that they literally just turned on last week. So it's important to kind of get a good understanding of what the Los Rios implementation of YouTube looks like, and how we can incorporate that into our professional lives and, of course, our instructional lives as well. So let's go ahead and just jump in. I'm going to share my screen, and we'll take a look at the process and the sequence that we need to go through to use YouTube inside of our technology services. As I mentioned just a moment ago, I'm going to be posting this video to the CRC Professional Development Canvas shell. So this will be archived. If you want to go back in and take a look at the video, I definitely encourage you to do so. In addition, you're more than welcome to email me at any time. My email address, I'll put it in the chat, and it's just about everywhere within inside of our professional system at the moment. I'm a YouTube super ninja. This is like my thing. I'm a long time YouTube user. So when they flipped the switch and enabled YouTube for all of our Los Rios technologies services, I got super excited because this is like right up my alley. So let's start the screen sharing process here, and we'll take a look-see at what's going on. One second, I'm gonna jump over, close some tabs, and we'll get going here. Unfortunately, I do not have the ability to chew gum and walk at the same time. Okay, let me start sharing my screen here, and we can get going. Okay. So hopefully everyone can see the CRC website. And to get access through YouTube, really all that we need to do to begin this process is to log into our regular Los Rios hub. And for employees and even for students, the easiest way to do that for an employee is just go into employees. And then, of course, we have our employee login. Here's a great little trick. If you just hit Canvas here at the top of the list, you get to the exact same doorway. Either way, it doesn't matter which one of those options that you choose from the list. It's going to get you to what we call and what we refer to as the single sign-on page. So I'm just going to put my credentials in here. This is our standard W number and in username. And there it is right there, down there at the bottom. YouTube video sharing. And this is going to be, if you haven't bookmarked this, I have this bookmarked in another browser, hub.losrios.edu. This is going to get you to this landing page, and it's a great little gateway. I love how District IT has put all of our favorited and most used applications in one spot. Here's our power user trick of the day. You're probably looking at mine and going, hey, Pat's hub looks a whole lot different than my hub. That's because I've customized it. This gear icon in the vertical nav bar at the top allows you to go in, excuse me, I got some Zoom interface stuff in the way, and we can filter the applications to only show the apps that we use the most. So that's why mine looks a little bit differently likely than yours. But what we want to talk about today is YouTube, and specifically how it's going to integrate into Canvas and our other instructional and technology tools within inside the district. It's important to point out that this is a district-wide implementation of the tool. So this is not exclusively a CRC platform. You're going to be able to use this wherever you go within inside of Los Rios. It's tied to your active Los Rios entities. So your W number, your employee number. Same with our students. YouTube is available to faculty, staff, and our students. Anyone that has an active Los Rios identity can use YouTube with inside of our Los Rios technology suite for our professional purposes. And you're going to hear me say professional about a zillion times over the course of the next 30 or 40 minutes or so, because I think that's the underlying message here when it comes to YouTube in Los Rios, is that we are exclusively using YouTube as a video distribution platform for our professional videos, not private. And you'll see why here in a minute. Okay, let me jump in. Any questions before we get going here? And I apologize. Let me get some of my Zoom interface out of the way and get the chat open. At any time, feel free to jump in, raise your hand. shoot, just interrupt me. There's no ego on it on my side. I'm a classroom teacher, so I'm used to being, kind of in with my students in the mix and in an organic conversation about technology. So feel free to ask the question the moment that you have it. Okay, let's jump in. Here's YouTube down here for YouTube video sharing. And the first time we click on it, we're going to be taken to a website that's managed by District IT. And this is an important place to begin our journey of discovery when it comes to how we're going to use YouTube, because this explicitly brings to the foreground the terms of service and how we're going to be using YouTube. As a gentle reminder, YouTube is a public video platform. Public, right? It's the world's largest social media platform. They allow us to post this wonderful content in the form of video and audio, and users from all around the globe can provide comments, like our videos, share our videos. It's pretty great. I'm a big advocate and fan of YouTube because it's kind of this central hub of the internet when it comes to video. It's our great water cooler. Everyone comes, or everyone at the very least understands and knows where this location is inside of the web. So it serves as a great common denominator for all internet experiences. However, when we're looking at this through the lens of professional video, instructional video distribution for school stuff, if you will, we need to look at the terms of service very specifically. Real fast, and I apologize, Joan, it appears as though your microphone's on. If you wouldn't mind muting, that'd be fantastic. I hear a little bit of an echo, and I think it's coming from you. Same with Jeannie, your microphone's on. Maybe it's Jeannie, I apologize. Thank you. Okay, so let's look at the terms of service first, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna look at how to access. District IT created this website, this web page, excuse me, and I think they very intentionally made the link to YouTube very small, and it's right here because they want us to spend some time looking at all of this gobbledygook down here. And it's important stuff, specifically the terms of service. And we're going to look at the physical terms here in a second, but I like what they've brought to the foreground, that this is a FERPA and COPA environment. So this is the information that we put on YouTube requires to follow all of our FERPA laws. So we cannot identify students. We cannot post any sort of student identifiable material inside of YouTube. This is an extension of our classroom. And if you treat it as an extension of your classroom and continue following all the student privacy laws that we've all been trained on, then everything's going to be just fine. In addition, we also need to make sure that we're following all the children's online privacy information, because this content can be viewed by minors. So we have to be very mindful of this. YouTube is a public platform, or it can be transformed into a public platform. So we need to be careful that we're not posting any identifiable student information. So this includes names, likenesses, the sound of a person, anything that can be used to identify that there's a student in our class in a public atmosphere needs to be removed. So if you're doing video streaming, you have to be careful with how you answer questions. You can't have a live synchronous conversation inside of YouTube. And I'll show you that here in a minute. So this is a FERPA and COPA environment. The rules and regulations that we use in Canvas and all of our student-facing materials apply to YouTube as well. Okay, so with that said, I want you to just jump over to our terms of service, because there's some important things in here that we need to be very mindful of. Let's just jump over into the link. Okay, so the terms of service is kind of laid out a little bit odd. Now we're on a YouTube page. We're no longer on a district page. So this is all the YouTube information coming directly from them. There's a small little table of contents, if you will. But down below, they go into some pretty significant detail on the specifics of all of these categories. And I'm going to cruise down. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit here, because there's some things that I need to make sure that everyone understands. Here we go. Who may use this service? This top part here, that's just about defining what the service is. And the service is YouTube. But who may use this service? Okay. Not huge detail for us in higher education, but the minimum age for YouTube in general is 13 years old. Now we have minors inside of some of our classes. So if we have students that are under 18, we need to ensure that we're getting some sort of parental consent if our students are asked to produce content that's going to go on YouTube. If they're viewing a YouTube video, that's different. I think you're going to be okay as long as it's made for children and there's not any sort of mature content in that video. However, if you're asking your students to produce a video that's going to go on YouTube, you need to get consent for anyone that's under 18. Okay. Like I said before, this platform in Los Rios is for faculty, staff, and students. Anyone with an active W number can use that W number to access YouTube under their own professional educational account. So keep that in mind as we go forward, okay? If it's under 18, like with anything, we have to get parental consent before we go forward. And I can't imagine we have anyone under 13 years old in some of our classes, but you never know. We have some pretty smart individuals in our community, but keep that in mind as you go forward. This next bit, this is about the parental consent. Okay. I would encourage you to really go through all of your use of service because there's some things in here that you need to be very, very mindful of going forward. I'm not going to go through each one of these bullet points, but I am going to do you the service of kind of giving you the greatest hits here. Okay. And I'm going to zip down here and under permissions and restrictions. There's some things in here that I want you to be mindful of. YouTube is a public viewing platform. We can filter the videos with some restrictions when we upload them. But if you don't do anything, if you're not mindful of these filters and these sharing permissions, it's going to be made public. So you got to be understanding of that. This is not the safe walled garden that is Canvas, right? Inside of Canvas, it's fantastic. Only the students that are inside of that Canvas course are going to see the materials inside of that Canvas course. The moment we start posting materials outside of Canvas, we need to be mindful of the restrictions and the environment that we're putting these materials in. You allow YouTube to use these videos. This is their platform. When you upload a video to YouTube, you are granting YouTube to use these videos without your permission, okay? So if you have something that's incredibly if you have some intellectual property that you have crafted that is yours, that you do not want to have anyone else have rights to, don't post it on YouTube. This is not your environment, okay? YouTube has the rights based off the terms of service to use your videos in whatever capacity the corporation, Google, whatever capacity Google wants to use without your consent. You are giving away that level of control for these videos, okay? In addition, you also allow the users of YouTube to use your video without your informed consent. And this is kind of the cool thing about working with YouTube, right? You post these videos, and if you make them public, people then can share that video or embed that video inside of their own website. I am on my personal YouTube channel. I have one video from a 3D modeling and animation class that I taught like 6 or 7 years ago. That's got like 60,000 views on it. Well, those aren't coming from my students because I definitely have not had 60,000 views inside of that specific class. So somewhere that video got embedded in a website or is part of another website that I have no idea where it is that has generated that viewership. So your users are going to use these videos unbeknownst to you as well. Not necessarily a bad thing, but you just need to be aware of it before you jump into the YouTube pool. Okay. All right. The other thing that you'll find once you read all of this information is that YouTube is going to keep your videos, even if you delete them. So you have to be aware that even though you hit the delete button, it's not really gone. They're going to keep it on their servers and they can continue to use it after you've deleted it. So you really have to be open to the idea that these are now public videos that you're kind of gifting to the larger world at hand, that they're not yours. If you have some intellectual property that you wish to retain 100% the rights to, there are other video platforms that are built for that purpose. 3C Media from Tech Connect, which is a state-funded organization, is probably more likely going to be the better bet than posting your videos on YouTube. Okay. Before we go any further, are there any questions about the terms of service when it comes to working with YouTube? It's pretty straightforward stuff. Let's go back a page here. I'm going to go back to the DE, or excuse me, the district website. Okay, so let's jump in because there's some things inside of YouTube that are pretty fun. And this little button right here is where you access it. Now, it's also important to point out that you're going to be using your W number at apps.losrios.edu as your username. Okay. If you are currently signed in to any other into this web browser, I'm using the Chrome web browser. If you're currently signed into the Chrome web browser or the current web browser under your personal Google account, like I have my own personal Google account, it's just patcranley@gmail.com, right? If I'm signed into Chrome under patcranley@gmail.com, clicking on this button right here is going to take me to my personal Gmail or my personal YouTube channel. I want to access my professional YouTube channel. So I have two choices really. I can copy this link and open it in a different web browser that doesn't have my personal Google account currently signed in. Or this is what I do most often. I simply right click on the link and I say, open in an incognito window. Now in Chrome, I'm already in an incognito window. You can see that up here. If you're using Firefox or Safari, it's called private browsing. It's the same thing. What these browser tabs do is ignore any user information that's currently being saved by the browser that's used to authenticate a different website. So think of it as usernames and passwords. The incognito and private browsing tabs are going to ignore any sort of password or username that you've put into the site. It kind of gives you a fresh internet browser window without any of that other stuff saved into the scene itself. So I'm going to open it in a incognito window, and I can see that I'm incognito up here and that it automatically grabbed my user number or my user ID, which is my WID. FYI, these W numbers are public. They're not private information at apps.losrios.edu. So it's your W number at apps.losrios.edu. That is your username. Before you do anything inside of YouTube, click on this icon right here. Mine says P because my first name is Patrick. It may not be purple. And just double check what account that you're currently signed into. If you're in your personal, sign out, return to this page, click on this link again, and go through the process. At times, and this is something that's kind of weird, depending on how your browser's been configured, you may get a Los Rios single sign-on button. It's the same thing that you're used to seeing when you sign into Los Rios here. It has the Los Rios symbol, then a place for your W number, and then another line for your password. When you're signing into YouTube for the first time, you're likely going to see that. Just sign in. Everything's going to be good. Just make sure you're signing in with your W number, and you'll be just fine. Okay. So Sharon, we're going to talk about your question here in a minute. And it's an important question. It's about made for children and not made for children. So we're going to loop back and get that question here in a minute. Okay. So welcome to YouTube. And this is the full YouTube experience. So you're going to see with your professional W number, okay, or your professional user account, excuse me, the entire YouTube experience. So on whenever you sign in, it's going to show you trending videos and all this other stuff, right? Remember, YouTube is meant to be a social watering hole, social water cooler for all things video across the entire internet, okay? I think what we're going to do is that we're going to start off by going into this little icon and choosing YouTube Studio, because this is really where we as professionals are going to probably take the most or spend the most time. This is going to be our medium for us to upload content and to begin to share our videos on YouTube. So let's go into YouTube Studio. This is our library. This is where we begin to manage the maybe hundreds of videos that you have inside of your library. Okay. So check this out. Because I opened this up for the first time, YouTube is saying, hey, use YouTube as Patrick Cranley, check this out. I can't change any of this information because this is being pulled from Los Rios, okay? Los Rios is kind of forcing us to use the names that show up in our personnel records and the names that show up automatically inside of Canvas or other instructional technology inside of our channel, and we can't change this. So there's some customization of our YouTube channels that we just fundamentally cannot do given the restrictions that Los Rios District IT has placed on our channels. So let's go ahead and create the channel. And hopefully it will go fast. Ta-da! Okay, so if you're new to using YouTube, you certainly could go through all the tutorials and what have you. YouTube is fantastic in providing a tremendous amount of learning resources to new users to get up and running pretty quickly. I'm simply going to click off of this little screen to be taken right into my library itself. And I think you'll find that for the most part, when working with your library, you're just going to be hanging out inside of this content area. Think of this as the library for all of your videos. I'm going to hit the close button. I don't need to take the tour. So if we go into the content area of our library, this is where we can begin the upload process for all of our videos. And it's pretty easy to do this, okay? So down here in the center, since I don't have any videos in my library, I have a gigantic upload videos button. In addition, you can also hit this create button way up over here in the upper right-hand corner of the screen and upload videos that way. 6 to 1, half a dozen to another. You're going to do the exact same thing, regardless of how you choose to interface with the software. I have a video all ready to go, so let me just upload it, and that way we can walk through the process of uploading a video into YouTube. So here we go. We can either drag and drop a video onto this icon here, or we can simply just click this Select Files button and navigate to where we store a computer or a file on our computer. Okay. So I'm just going to sort my browser here for a second. Let's find a movie. Let's find one here real fast. Here we go. Here's the intro video to my next module, and up it goes. So you just need to select the file, hit OK, and it will start the upload process. Once you're in, I want you to notice a couple things here, and I apologize. I got to move some interface stuff out of the way. YouTube is going to start to upload your file immediately, even though you haven't finished filling out a whole series of forms. It's going to go and then it's going to process. Depending on the length and the file size that you're uploading to the YouTube servers, this can take a while. If you're uploading a 10-minute video, that's one thing. But if you're uploading a lecture that's an hour long, this is going to take a while. In addition to it having to upload the video remotely, it's then going to have to process the video. And if you look carefully, right now I'm in the uploading stage. As soon as this completes, it's going to start to process the video and transform this video into a file that YouTube can then put on its site. The cool thing about working with YouTube is that it is a very well-developed, well-oiled machine, if you will. It's going to take basically any video format out there and get it on the web, regardless of its format and how you've made it. If you're given it a really wacky video that's in a strange size and a really weird format, it's going to take longer for the computer to process it. But just be aware, it's not instantaneous. It's going to take some time depending on your internet connection and the processing of the video that has to be done. Okay, so first things first, we're going to work on the title. This can be anything you want. This gobbledygook in here that I've highlighted, this is just for me, since I teach 3D modeling and animation and I work in the media field, those letters and numbers have some meaning for me, but don't worry about it. Give it a good name that will help you organize your content. I think that's the big takeaway. In addition, also give it a description. The title and the description is going to be seen on the YouTube page itself. So this is a great place to go in and add some really specific information that contextualizes the content of your video itself. I'm not going to write too much of a description here. I think this is in this module, we will explore the basics of working in 3D. There we go. And that's really what it's all about. So it's the intro, that's the title. This is the description. YouTube is automatically going to generate a thumbnail image for this video, But at any time, you can always come back to this video and give it your own thumbnail, your own custom thumbnail that's going to follow this video wherever it goes on the web itself. In addition, if we continue to scroll down this first page, if you have more than one playlists, you can automatically apply this video to a playlist. So in the past, what I've done on my personal YouTube channel, I have a whole series of playlists for all of my classes. Let me do the same thing. I want to do MODO 301. This is my 3D modeling class. And the visibility of this playlist, I'm going to put to public. Let's create it. And then I'll check it and then hit done. Okay. Now this next bit is where it gets a little bit more important for us in the educational world. You're going to find these series of options on both our professional and our personal implementation of using with YouTube. And it has to do with the audience. There was some legislation that went through last year that first started in Europe and then made its way all around the world that requires all of our video platforms to determine, flag, filter content that's specifically made for kids versus content that is specifically not made for kids. And ultimately what they're trying to do is ensure that advertisements for adult products don't show up on kids that are made for 6-year-olds, right? And these are not necessarily advertisement of a mature nature, but just advertisements that are not meant for kids, right? This could be, whatever. But it's important that we start to flag things for, yes, it's made for kids. No, it's not made for kids. For us in the educational market, everything should be made for kids, right? We don't want to have any sort of content be superimposed. And what I'm talking about are those little banners that show up, those advertisement banners that show up at the bottom of our YouTube videos. We don't want any of those advertisements to show up. And especially we don't want any sort of advertisement that's not made for children, okay? So we always want to say, yes, this is made for kids. Now, there's a couple of added benefits of doing this. A, we ensure that this is flagged appropriately on the back end of YouTube. We're not going to see any sort of commercial advertisement that's inappropriate for the age groups that we're producing this content for. In addition, it automatically turns off the public comments for this video, which could be very, very helpful for us in the educational world as well. Remember, YouTube is a public viewing platform. If you have this to no, it's not made for kids, and continue to allow the YouTube universe to comment on your videos, who knows what you're going to write or what's going to be written below your video. YouTube can be the wild, wild west when it comes to comments. I have a lot of public facing videos that I've allowed comments on. I've seen just about everything roll through my comments. I've seen, great video, Pat. This has been super helpful for your garbage and you shouldn't be doing this. You just never know what people are going to write on YouTube. For us, yes, it's made for kids. It's going to turn off the comments and it's going to ensure that nothing is going to be placed on top of our videos that's not appropriate for our age groups. Okay, so notice that when I say, yes, it's made for kids, this age restriction stuff now goes away. We don't have the ability to change this down in here. Oops, sorry. Do you want to restrict your video to adult audiences? So if it's no, it's not made for kids, then you can say, hey, restrict it to viewers over 18, or nope, don't restrict. Or under 18, or don't restrict. For us, yes, it's made for kids. That's how we're going to work with this. Is going to follow all of our FERPA and COPA laws, and it's going to ensure that we're serving and using YouTube correctly. Hey, look at that. YouTube's done uploading and processing my video. I perhaps have gotten the world's worst, thumbnail. So I'm more than welcome to go in and maybe choose a different one. That one's slightly better. I'll go with that one. That one looks like fun. So it's just automatically going to give you 3 options. And of course, you can upload your own if you'd like as well. Okay, so let's go on to the second part of this 3-step process of uploading our videos. These are the details. Oh, you also have more options down here. This really isn't super important, but definitely check it out. The tags are kind of nice. This is a way to non-linearly search for things. Like for all of my videos that I produce for on my private YouTube channel, I always put Sacramento City College, 3D modeling, some other industry specific terms. That way my students and whomever can find these videos a little bit more easily. You don't have to do the language. Closed captioning, we'll talk about that here in a minute. The location, you're more than welcome to do this. You can also allow embedding or not allow embedding. So you get some more kind of granular control over, over how your video is going to be performing inside of your website, but definitely something that's not necessary given what we're looking at. So I'm going to hit the next button in advance. Okay, since we have made this video for children, we can't put anything at the end of our videos, which is a good thing. We can't have any paid promotions show up in the middle of our videos. If you have spent any time viewing YouTube videos in your own personal life, you probably have seen these little splash screens that end up at the end of the video. Often they're from a channel creator that is encouraging you to watch another video on their channel. These cards are advertisements or related content to the video. But since this video is made for kids, none of these options are made available to us, which is actually a good thing. It kind of makes the YouTube video experience a little bit simpler. Okay, and then finally is the visibility section. And the visibility section is absolutely probably the most important part of this upload process, because this is going to determine how our users fundamentally interact with our videos. And there's a couple different options, okay? And these options are found right here, okay? So let's go through all three of these options. That way we're aware of what they do and how they're different from each other. First is private. Private is about as private as you can make it, right? Only the people that you share it with, only the users that you share it with are going to be able to see this video. So if you are producing a video for a student that has some specific feedback to that student, you can share this video specifically to that student, and that would be okay. That would fall underneath our FERPA guidelines, and you're allowed to do that. If you hit share privately, you'll be able to put in the W number. So I don't know. Let's do W07. And please note that you have to do the apps.losrios.edu. That's what all of our students' email or their official email address is going to be. You got to use that one. So I can invite it to just that one person. Okay. And now only this user, which happens to be me, by the way, can only view this video. Okay. In addition, you can let everyone inside of our apps.losrios.edu view this website or view this video. So this lets just Los Rios employees or just Los Rios users, if you will, anyone with an active W number, view this video. So if you have an internal document that you're going to have a whole bunch of people see and that you just want to filter to Los Rios employees only, you can just turn this on, okay? And then hit the done button. Now, when I hit the save, you'll see in a minute, you'll be able to go in and change this at any time, but you can start to filter who specifically is going to get access to this video. This is a great way and a preferred way of locking down the video content and only sharing it to the users that we want to have access or we want to provide access to. Okay, I'm going to hit cancel. Now that we have two other options here, unlisted and public. The difference between them is subtle, and the experience is going to be pretty drastic. But let's go over them. When it's unlisted, it's not going to show up inside the YouTube search registry. So so the title of this video I think is M1 Intro for Module 1 Introduction. If I was to go onto YouTube under its current sharing properties and type M1 Intro, it's not going to be there. You can't search for the video. It's still on the platform. You can send links to it. You can still share it with people and give them links to the videos. But some guy or gal on the other side of the world is never going to be able to find your video when it's unlisted. This is like an unlisted phone number inside of our telephone system. I do this pretty often. It's a great way to allow me to use the video platform, to use YouTube in a semi-private way. It's not as restrictive as this private sharing options. It sits between private and public, which I'm happy that they're there. This does not follow our FERPA and COPA guidelines. So if you have any sort of private student information that's in your video, unlisted is a no-go. You got to use private. And of course, public is public, right? That means you can search for it. Any person on the face of the planet that's using YouTube in their browser or on their mobile or on their on like a TV app can find this video. Public is public. So you need to be careful as to which one of these you're using and understand your video content before you publish. YouTube is a distribution platform. It allows us to give this information to specific users. These three options in here determines which user group, if you will, is getting access to our videos. Okay, I'm going to set this as public just for the time being. This is just a video of me talking in my office. Oh, my office! How I miss my office. It's been so long since I've been to my office. It's me sitting in my in my office, so I don't mind that it's public. It doesn't have any student information in it. It's just me talking about the content of the module that week. If I'd like, I can also schedule a time when this video is going to show up on YouTube. I'm not going to do that at the time for the time being. I am going to hit public here. And I always do just a good little spot check, make sure I'm finished. This is all good. And then we'll hit this big blue publish button. Takes a second. Voila. Video published. I'm going to hit close just to take us back to the YouTube library so that we can see how we continue to interface with this, because there's a couple other things in here that I want you to see. So inside of your content library, you're going to see a linear list of all of your videos, and you can change how it sorts it. And there's some other really great features that make it easy to manage large lists, but it is just going to be a gigantic list, right? At any time, if you want to go in and make a change to your video or your video properties, not the actual video file itself, if you just hover over the video that you want to change, the pencil icon will take us to a page where we can go in and we can change a couple different fields. We cannot replace the video, but we can change what's called some of the metadata that describes this video. So I can change the title, I can change the description. Here's where I can change the thumbnail and re-upload it. A lot of these features that we saw in that initial splash screen are here again inside of this area. So there's some things in here that we can go back in and fundamentally change. We can't replace the video. So if I redid this video and I wanted to kind of overwrite what's here, I'd have to delete this one first and then upload my revision second. I can't replace. Okay. Think of this as a permanent like mailing address, this link to this video. Unfortunately, we can't swap out the content. We've got to delete. Okay, so we can always go in and change it. The other things that I want you guys to be aware of is that there is a very simple video editor. And I'm not going to go into details, but you can trim. I would say just let you remove some things at the beginning and the ending of your videos. And there's also the ability to add some simple music and some sound effects. I'll let you go in and explore that on your own. YouTube and Google give us a lot, right? There's a lot of really great reasons to use YouTube. This is one of them. And then lastly, since we're doing video, all of our languages or all of our videos need to have captions on them. Now, luckily for us, YouTube is going to go in and automatically caption our videos for them. And this is the environment that will allow us to begin to see and edit those captions. I'm going to set my language to English. Here we go. I'll do English United States. All right. And it's going to go in after some processing. It's going to go in and it's going to add some captions. Now, if you wanted to, you certainly could go in and do your own. Okay. Do your own captions. I'm not going to do that at the moment. It's going to take some time. Oh, look, it just did it. Check it out. It just popped in our automatic captions uploaded as I was speaking, which was helpful because sometimes you have to wait like 20 or 30 minutes for the servers to auto caption your stuff. But now they're there and we can even edit them. So if you hit the edit button, yeah, here they all are. It's not great. This is not how it's going to show up in the physical caption file itself. This is the transcript, by the way. And if I scroll over, now you can see the captions are showing up over here. And we can go in and we can make changes to these and continue editing them as well, which is pretty great. The YouTube auto captions are many shades of okay. They're actually pretty great. All of our videos have to have captions. The auto caption system from YouTube is getting better. It's far from perfect. No auto caption system is perfect, but it is here, and they're pretty okay. So the subtitles area is where you're going to be able to manage all of your captions inside of each individual video. It takes some time for the servers to do it, so be patient. I've had to wait a couple days for captions, which is not great, but it is what it is. So don't expect to, if you have a class at 3 o'clock and you're uploading your video, if your video finishes its upload at 2:45, they're not going to be captions by the time that video starts, or by the time your class starts. Okay, let me go back to my content here, my channel content, and I want to show you real quickly, and I understand that we're running out of time. I want to show you how we can use these videos inside of our larger technology suite of tools. Of course, let's just pretend that I'm happy with all of my settings. My captions are dialed in, ready to rock and roll. We can view it on YouTube. Let's check it out real fast. I'm going to hit that button. Oh, excuse me, that was very loud. And now we're on YouTube, right? Now we're able to view this video inside of YouTube without any problems. And it is the legit same 100% YouTube experience that we are accustomed to having. So people can like, they can share, they can embed. It's everything that you're used to seeing inside of YouTube, just under your professional user account. And I always keep track of this little icon. It's a fantastic way for me to understand which account that I'm currently in. Here's a great little trick. If you want to take this video over into Canvas and embed it, there's a couple options that we have. Let me show you one real fast. If you right click on the video itself, you get this really great popover. And then one of it is copy video URL. It's the same thing as hitting the share button and getting that link. It's 6 to 1, half a dozen to another. So you get to pick and choose how you want to use your clicks. Okay. And now we simply can go over into Canvas. Here we go. Oh, I'm logged in as an admin at the moment, so bear with me just for 1 second. I'm going to travel into my dev course. Here we go. Here's my playground. And now when we go into, just about any page, I'm just going to travel over to one. Here's a page inside of Canvas. Let's edit this page. Let's get rid of this. There we go. And now check it out. We can just paste the link in. If you want your students to travel over to the link, that's just fine. If you wanted to embed the video, to actually physically see the video embedded in here, check it out. It's going to be under this little electrical plug icon, because we have, of course, a YouTube app, a YouTube integration. Oops, click on the icon. There we go. Now I'm going to search for, since I made this public, I'm going to search for M1 intro. And there it is. Ta-da! This is me. I literally just embedded this ago at 1:59. So it's up to date. Let's embed it in there. And then I hit save. It's a great thumbnail image, by the way. And it works. Okay. Notice that it's pulling the icon from my YouTube or my Los Rios account. This is another great spot check, by the way, to make sure that it's coming from the right location, and it's ready to rock and roll. Let's go into student view here real fast. Make sure, oops, I have some conditions on some modules, which is currently preventing me from looking at this. Bear with me just for 1 second. I'm going to get rid of this. There we go. Update the module. And we'll return to the page and go into student view. And there it is. It's working. It's working, up and running, no problem at all. So the YouTube integration is identical to our YouTube integration with our private accounts. It's a little bit easier now thanks to the Los Rios username and password. The big benefit of this is that we get to separate our personal lives from our professional lives. But with all things when it comes to our professional lives for education, it's tied to the FERPA and COPA laws. So we've got to be very, very mindful of the platform that we're using and the requirements of this platform. One thing before we run out of time today, I encourage you to look at some of the other features inside of the YouTube studio in the channels. There's a bunch of stuff in here. I've only talked about 10% of the tools that they give us. There's some really great audio libraries. You can get some royalty-free music and sound effects that you can place inside of your videos, which is pretty cool. Here's my suggestion. Please don't monetize your account. We are eligible to monetize. There's some things in here that you need to do, but you can start the process of monetizing your account. You can certainly do that. I would not recommend that you do that. That is the legal gray area at the moment. So I would not look forward to any of you getting in trouble by Los Rios legal for trying to make money off of ad revenues on your videos. So please ignore that as much as you can. In addition, you can also do live streaming. You can do this. It is a feature. Please do not do it with anything that has identifiable student information. The big difference between a live video and a video that you upload into your content library is that your live videos are all automatically public. So if you're identifying students in your live stream, you have broken our FERPA laws and you have broken and violated all of our COPA laws. So do not do live videos with information that contains students, okay? This is a no-go for us. If you are demonstrating a tool that doesn't include an indication of a student or I can identify a student, then you'll probably be okay. But this is defaulted to public. You don't get the option to make it a private live stream. So please keep that in mind, okay? As always, if you have any questions about this, I do a lot of YouTubing. This is my preferred video platform. Our Los Rios implementation of YouTube is a good first step. And as long as you're comfortable with the terms of service, the restrictions and the requirements that the FERPA and COPA laws put in all of our videos, we'll be just fine. All right, I'll take the last few minutes for questions, comments, concerns. I'm gonna stop sharing. I know YouTube is kind of a scary, daunting environment for most in here. And I definitely wanna make sure that everyone has an opportunity to express some questions.
Hi, Pat. This is Jennifer Patrick. If I want to have a Child Development Center channel as opposed to a Jennifer Patrick channel, can I do that?
No. We are currently in the process of figuring out the administrative sequence to make that happen. You're not the first person to have asked that question. I've asked that question. I was like, it'd be great to have a distance education channel just for CRC that's not tied to an individual's user account. These are called brand accounts. And Los Rios District IT is currently figuring out the sequence, the administrative sequence that we need to go through to create brand accounts and then to associate users to that brand account. So hang tight, they're working on it.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments, concerns? Is this a scary thing or something that you guys are going to want to use? It can seem overwhelming at first, but like with most technology, dip your toe in. Okay, do one video, see how it works. You know, you don't have to be a YouTube super user to really take advantage of this platform. Just be mindful and remember the restrictions and the requirements of COPA and FERPA, and you'll be just fine. No identifiable student information on unlisted and public videos.
Patrick, this is Christine Wise. I've been using the video service within Canvas to create videos, and then I use subcaption, what do you call it? The closed captioning
Uh-huh.
program, and that's a lot of work to create subtitles. Would you recommend YouTube as a better way to create videos for my class, like informational videos, just for the subtitle feature?
No. And I'm assuming you're talking about Canvas Studio is the internal. Yeah. Canvas Studio, in my opinion, does a better job of captioning our videos than YouTube does.
Okay.
Canvas Studio is going to add capitalization, punctuation, periods. It does a much better job of figuring out complex words. It's kind of a you get what you pay for type thing. You know, what you pay for is time. It takes longer for the studio captions to be generated. The functionality of editing these captions and saving these captions is a little bit reduced in comparison to YouTube. So it's kind of a give and take. But I think the better investment in time would be use Canvas Studio.
Okay, great, thanks.
I have a question. I use Studio as well, but it doesn't give you the transcript. You can caption, so correct?
Correct. This is the give and take. If collectively, captioning is still just a major problem for all of our video platforms. No one's doing it correct. No one has the best implementation at the moment. So there's each tool is giving us a different output when it comes to captioning. Yeah, like for example, Zoom does captioning. They give us wonderful transcripts, but the accuracy is real poor and it takes forever for the captions to show up. Canvas Studio, the accuracy is much higher, but they're difficult to edit and you can't download the captions. You can't, the caption file is locked inside of Canvas, right? YouTube, the accuracy is about 85%. It's okay. You don't get punctuation, which would be really super helpful. However, it's incredibly flexible. You can go in and edit at any time. You can save your captions. You can apply these caption files to other videos. And so they give you the most flexibility, but it's not as accurate.
Okay.
Pat, this is Mary. Isn't captioning better than transcripts for accessibility because of them looking at one screen as opposed to having to look at two different, like a document and also the screen?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not better or worse. They're just different. They're just different. They're different types of files inside of our accessibility requirements. All of our videos at the very least need to be captioned. And then if they can be transcribed as well, like timestamp transcribed, that's like
in addition.
In addition, yeah.
Okay.
In addition. Other questions, comments about videos or working with YouTube? As I mentioned before, I do a lot of this. The nature of my business, just working in the animation and 3D modeling world, I do a tremendous amount of video work. So if you'd like, you're more than welcome to shoot me an email. I'm putting my professional email address inside of the chat. Feel free to contact me at any time with your questions, your frustrations. I know that working with videos can often be death by 1,000 razor blade cuts. It can be quite laborious, but we're definitely here to help, and we're here to reduce some of the friction when there's friction inside of the system. All right, well, if there's not any additional questions or comments, I think I'm just going to conclude the recording right here. Thank you everyone for showing up. I'm going to be posting this recording on the Professional Development Canvas site. You'll get a notification from me in the not too distant future for when that video is up, but it will be very, very soon, tomorrow or the next day probably. Please feel free to shoot me an email if you have any questions or comments. Thank you everyone for showing up, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.